Welcome to Between the Reads, where Black books are shared and celebrated all year long. I'm your host, Audra Russell. There are so many great things going on this year as I continue to amplify Black stories, but I can't do it without your support. Please consider heading over to patreon.com/betweenthereads and becoming a member, or make a one-time donation at www.ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. Are you ready, boos and bros? Then sit back, relax, and let's get to it. B.D. Hendrix was raised in a small town in Wilmington, Delaware. She is a devoted wife and mother and is an all-around creative person who found her love for writing as a young child. After getting her associate's degree in graphic design, her bachelor's degree in education, and master's degree in psychology, she decided to take a step out on faith to start writing stories just like the books she's always loved to read. Incorporating everything she's learned through others' lives, school, and through her own personal experiences, she became a self-published author. With her writing, she strives to encourage, enlighten, and intrigue readers with her provoking stories and lovable, but sometimes crazy, characters. When she is not writing, she enjoys spending time with her family, singing, eating, cooking, painting, and pretty much anything that involves being creative. Bria, welcome to Between the Reads.
How are you? Thank you for having me on here.
I'm so excited to have you on the show to talk about this book. Yes. Heaven Can Wait.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Tell our readers what this book is all about.
So Heaven Can Wait, in the short way that I can explain it, is about two friends who are trying to find true love, but are also dealing and struggling and battling with their childhood traumas and how they were raised, and just trying to figure out who they are as women and how they will fit into the life of love, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There was a lot going on in this book. I was just so frustrated with all three of these women.
Yeah.
So, though I feel like Lola is the lead in the book, I feel like she's the main character. But I want to talk about Azra for a minute.
Okay.
She's hyper-religious because of her grandmother. She's raised in a church. But that soon falls apart.
Yeah.
And she says something in the book that was very profound for me. She said, "I need to learn who I am. No interference, no judgment, just getting to know what I want without the restrictions of religion and her disapproval for not being perfect." And she was referring to her grandmother.
Right.
Let's discuss that statement.
Right. So Azra is the young girl. She's young. She's only, I think, 25. And she has always been raised as a Christian to be this perfect, young girl that her grandmother raised her to be. And she never really rebelled against her grandmother. But now I feel like she is more of the type that is, now that her interest is piqued with Genesis, she realizes, like, hold on, wait, like, this is something that I want to explore. And because of that, it's the whole idea of, what can I do? Like, how far can I push this thing? And she wants to be able to push it without anything coming back to her. And she realizes really quick that you can't just do everything that you want to do.
Nope.
You can't.
Nope.
And I feel like even like that, Azra, a part of me, and I'm not Azra.
Okay, I was about to say, wait a minute now.
But both of them have a lot of me in them. So like Azra with the religious part, I wasn't raised like hyper religious or anything, but I was raised in a Christian household. And I can only imagine like how it would be. I was raised by strict parents though. So along with the religion and the strict parents, they weren't really strict on religion, but they were just strict on me. And I realized, like, growing up, it's like, it's things that you want to do, but you can't really just do everything you want to do. You got to have some type of morals.
Right.
You have to have morals. You have to have like a moral compass. And I feel like Azra realized really quickly that, you have to have some sort of boundaries with
Mm-hmm.
what you're going to do in life. And that's something that I
Mm-hmm.
always thought of as a teenager and then like a young adult, was growing up and like thinking like, and part of it is why I became a writer, because I've had these thoughts that run through my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I wonder what would happen if, I wonder what kind of what the situation would turn out to be if, I
Mm-hmm.
did this or this person did this. So like, I think Azra kind of encompasses all of that in her character.
Listen, because she really goes off the deep end in this book. She goes from being like hyper religious and always
Yes.
on prayer calls and always in Bible study and conservative dress to like
Yes.
tiny little spoilers. She like goes and like knocks this chick off the road like it wasn't no
Yeah.
thing and just
Yeah.
drove on home and was like
Happy about it.
happy, happy. I was like,
Yeah.
well,
She lost her
damn, Ezra.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like to say that Ezra lost her mind. She lost her mind. Her whole
she
mind.
did. Did you ever feel like when you were writing that scene, did you feel like this is too much? Maybe I need to walk it back a little at all?
Yeah, I did. When I say like with my characters, it's almost like a battle with them. And
Right.
I know people are like, you're just characters, like you control them. Yeah, you do, but it's about making their story like kind of authentic in a way, and like kind of, this woman, she just went crazy. She went
Mm-hmm.
crazy, and it was like the love, that first love that she had with Genesis, it
Mm-hmm.
made her lose her mind. And because she never experienced anything like that before, it's
Mm-hmm.
like this is her first time experiencing it, 25 years. And now it's like, this is the man of my dreams. I want him. I'm going to have him by any means. And
Listen,
she never understood to she never understood the dollar back. So
I mean, I'm not trying to give no spoilers, but the things that Azra did,
yeah.
I was just like, there are a lot of times when Azra finally went off the deep end. I was just sitting there like this, like,
Hmm. Yeah.
I, okay, Azra, are we going, like,
We just
she
gonna
really
keep doing
lost her
this.
mind.
We just
Yeah.
we just
Like,
okay.
how far is this gonna go before this chick, like, wakes
Yeah.
up? But I think that also speaks to the fact of, because like you, my parents were very strict on me. My brother could go out and sleep with 20 women. They didn't care as long as, he wore a condom. Me, it was like, had to be home by midnight.
Right.
They had to meet all my friends before I went anywhere, and we were
Right.
in church every Sunday. But I think this speaks to the fact of how too much of anything can be bad. If
Yeah.
you're so strict with
Right.
religion and going to church and, just, not really having a balance, it really
Hmm.
can turn out like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not as extreme as Azra, but then maybe again, maybe, because
Hmm.
you're not allowed to have that little bit of freedom to just kind of figure out who you are outside of those parameters of religion.
Right.
And I think that was a very good thing that you showed in the book, that, it's kind
Hmm.
of a cautionary tale.
Yeah. Yeah. And even like with Azra, with her um going as far as she did, I feel like a big part of her, like as she was trying to find herself and everything, a big part of
Mm-hmm.
her really wanted to break away from, it wasn't just like, let me
Right.
see how far I can go and still stay within my bounds of religion, but it was like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to break away from this. So she
Mm-hmm.
wanted, it's kind of like she wanted to live like a whole different life and
Right.
experience life without having those boundaries on her. And it's like, I can understand her in that way, but she just went about it completely wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, she went about it completely wrong.
I mean, yeah. There's not even
Yeah.
anything else I could say without giving away the book. And I need
Right.
people to experience all of this drama
Yes.
and these plot twists for themselves.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of them, even like when I was writing it, like I was surprised myself. And usually in I'm writing a book now that I don't really feel has many surprises, but with Heaven Can Wait and with the my other book Closure, it was twists in those books that I didn't expect to come when I was writing it. Like I was just planning on writing a regular story, and then here comes these different things. I'm like, oh, okay, well, all
Right.
right, I guess I'm going along with it.
Authors trip
So
me out the way y'all be acting like it's not your pen that's doing the work. You
it
really
feels
be.
like it.
I guess I'm an author too, so I get it. Like you think you're gonna write things one way, but
Right.
your characters really are in your head like,
That ain't
nah,
me.
that's not what we doing. I don't
Yeah.
know who you're writing about, but that's not. And I have actually gotten writer's block from refusing to write something that came into my head, and it's like the
Yeah.
character's like, I'm not giving you no more ideas until you fix
Nope.
that right there.
Exactly. It's funny. That's the beauty of like writing though. Like that's like the whole thing of like getting into a whole different world of
Mm-hmm.
people and like their attitudes, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. I really enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You can tell. You can tell in
Yeah.
this book.
Yeah.
So now, while we're on Azra, I want to talk
Mhm.
about her grandmother a little bit
Mhm.
because she's also hyper religious. You know,
Yeah.
it's always telling Azra, you got to pray, you know, you got to stay prayed up, wearing red is the devil and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But for somebody who's hyper religious, she has a pretty big skeleton in her closet.
Yes.
We won't say what,
Yes.
but it's huge.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about that hypocrisy for a minute because it seems like the people who are ultra religious like that are
Mhm.
usually the people that have the most to hide.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's talk about why you chose to have my mom have this
Yeah.
secret.
So I wanted to kind of show that Azra didn't just get this out of thin air. You
Mhm.
know, she didn't just
Mhm.
get this attitude of hers and this behavior of hers out of thin air. You know, it came
Mhm.
from something. Even I feel like even if she wasn't physically aware of it and like mentally aware of it, it was something that was there. It was subconscious. And
Right.
it was kind of one of those things that like, she watched her grandma, I mean, her grandma raised her. So it was one of those things where she saw things growing up that kind of let her know that this life isn't just a straight path. Like, this
Mhm.
whole, even the whole religion. So personally, it's not really like, well, yeah, it is. When you like, I feel like when my parents, you know, everybody's not perfect, but I feel
Right.
like when you see your parents doing things and you see like how, or you notice things that they might do or say, or you know, how they behave, it kind of
Mhm.
influences how you are when you grow up because you realize
Mhm.
like my parents did it and they turned out fine. And it's kind
Mhm.
of one of those things that's like, you learn from example rather than like do
Mhm.
as I say, not as I do. So it's more
Mhm.
like I'm gonna do as you do because I see it
Right.
and you're fine. Like you're still in church, you're still doing what you're supposed to do, and God still loves you. So like why would
Mhm.
he love me even if I go off the deep end? Like
Right.
so I kind of wanted to express that through Az's character. It's like she saw all the things that her grandmother did, whether it was like really explicit or whether it was, done under behind
like
closed doors.
like the radio.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and it's like, okay, well, she does it, so like, why can't I? Why can't I listen to music? Why can't
Mhm.
I, listen to regular everyday music
Right.
without feeling like that's like I'm gonna go to hell for that. Like,
Right.
and
Yes.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's one of those type of things that I feel a lot of people who grew up in the church and like they kind of, and not even like everybody, but the ones who have the hyper religious family members and stuff. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't have to do
Yeah.
exactly what you say because you're fine. I'll be fine.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's like let's test these boundaries a little bit and see,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
how much can we do and still
Right,
be okay.
right.
Right.
But it's like that's just
Now,
like a rabbit hole, just going deeper and
yeah.
deeper.
Mhm. Yeah, that's when you got to have that little bit of a moral compass to be like, okay, I'm going to try this out, but I'm not, you have to have like a
Right.
boundary. Yeah.
Right.
Of which Azra clearly lost all her
She lost
boundaries.
it. She lost it.
Gone. Just crumpled into the wind. Azra
Yeah.
was
She lost
gone.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. So now Lola, Azra, and Andrea.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, Andrea.
None of them know what they want.
No.
Which of these three characters was the most frustrating for you to write about?
Ezra. Ezra was
Yeah.
the worst. I didn't like her. When I was writing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like Ezra is
Yeah.
killing me. I did not
Right.
like her character. And I feel like the easiest to write was Lola, just because she's like such a fun person. Like she seems like such a fun person. She seems really guarded, but I kind of like breaking her out of her shell with
Mm-hmm.
not. And the funny thing with her is that she's such an outgoing person,
Right.
but she still is inside of a shell, and it's like, but it really
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to do with anything but with love. It doesn't have anything to
Right.
do with friends or being the
Nope.
person that she is, but it just has to do with submitting, not even submitting, but like, yeah, submitting to the idea of love. So she
Yeah.
was fun. Azure was frustrating.
Yeah. Azra got on my nerves. I was just like, you know
Yeah.
what? You gonna go from extreme left to extreme right
Yeah.
and just
She
and rationalize it, like all the things that she said she was against. She ends up doing and then rationalizing it all. And even when
Yeah.
her friend who, Lola, who's like loose and carefree, even
Mhm.
when Lola's like, damn, you need to kind of pull that back a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, what you talking about? And then they get into a tiff because she's like,
Right.
you the wrong one to be talking to me because I know how you live. And they end up getting in
Right.
a couple of little arguments about that.
Right.
But what I don't think Azra really understands, and it's not really her own fault that she doesn't understand it because Lola doesn't really open up about
Yeah.
anything that she's been through. Azra
Yeah.
kind of knows a little bit, but what Azra doesn't understand is that Lola's saying, look, I am the way I am with men. I have a reason to be this way because
Yeah.
men have not given me a reason to trust them.
Right.
I see them solely as a tool to be used to get what I want.
Mhm.
And she has good
Mhm.
reasoning for that.
Yeah.
But Azra does not, but Azra's just like, I'm just going to do this and I'm just going to be with this man. I'm going to be with Genesis. And Genesis has like a whole wife. And
He got the whole, like, he's a married man.
yeah, with
He's
like,
a whole married man.
they got businesses together and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And Azra's just like, don't care.
Nope. Does not care. She does not care. And
No.
like that's the thing with but I kind of wanted to like show Lola in that way too. Like, Lola still has morals. Like she still
Mm-hmm.
is like, I'm not going to even string you along with
Right.
because I know how I am and you're going to know how I am. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not even going to sit here and play with you. And she's not going to do things that's going to eventually like get her
Right.
torn up.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Lola tells you
and
up front, she's like, you are a booty call. I
yeah,
want to be with you because I need your money. I need
yeah,
your talent. I need your dick. She's
exactly.
like,
And that's it. She doesn't
that's
care.
it.
And she's
She does.
like, this is what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that I love about William. I love the fact that he's just like, I mean, hey, like, like well,
We gonna
I
talk
like
about
you.
William too, cause sis, we gonna get to him in a second.
Yeah.
So now you handle some pretty heavy topics in this book. There's suicide, there's domestic violence, there's sexual assault,
Yeah.
and you don't show it like in a gory way at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you make it known that these things have happened. Now, did you
Mhm.
know when you were writing that these characters were going to go through all these things, or did it just like you were writing and it happened?
So yeah, I didn't have the idea of having them go through that. Like, especially with Lola and everything that she went through as a child, I didn't expect that. I honestly didn't even want to write that because that's a really sensitive subject for a lot of people. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I should put this in there. But at the same time, I'm like, this is life. And with everything that I write, I want real life to be, what's
Mm-hmm.
the word? Represented.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, even though it's hard topics, I want
Mm-hmm.
people to realize that this is the thing that happens. A lot of people go through it, and you can come out of it victorious. Like, you don't have to sit in that trauma for your whole life,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to show through Lola. Um, and all of the other triggers, I guess, in there were more, I didn't see them coming. Like, I kind of, I thought about it, but then I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And then when it came to the point of doing certain things, I'm like, okay, well, it has to happen because this is like
Mm-hmm.
the only way. Like,
Right.
it felt like
Right.
that was the only way to do things. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I didn't
Mm-hmm.
expect it. I didn't really plan it. But it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it happened. I was
Yeah.
just like, wow.
Yeah.
Especially with Lola, like everybody has their, their things, but Lola's like the biggest onion. She has the most layers to me.
Yes.
That
Yes.
just you peel this one back and then this other one starts to come off and then you peel that one back and it's like, well, damn, Lola, how much
Right.
stuff do you have going on, girl?
Yeah. And I
You
love the
know?
evolution of Lola. That was my
Mhm.
favorite part, is seeing the evolution of how Lola, she seemed really immature and really just
Mhm.
like, about me, and
Mhm.
it doesn't matter about anyone. And then at the end, it's like you see how she matured.
Mhm.
And it's such like I guess like a small period of time. Whereas
Mhm.
Azra, I love seeing her deteriorate like throughout
Right.
the story.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like the
She's
opposite effect
yeah.
of each other.
Yeah. Azra's like going downhill, and then she ends up being jealous of Lola
Yeah.
because she's like, this girl and did everything under the sun, and she's
Right.
like getting all these blessings.
Yeah.
But and Lola, it's just like Lola doesn't realize that she's not really all about herself. It's just
Right.
that she doesn't want to risk letting people in a certain way because she's been so violated and betrayed. So
Right.
it's really, and her counselor read her for filth and was
Mm.
like,
She
"Did you ever
did.
think about this?" And she was
She,
like, "Well, damn, if she didn't just sum up my whole life in one sentence."
right. She did. She had her like, oh, okay.
Yeah. She
Like, that's
she
true.
yeah, she just yeah. So,
Yeah.
and you do show Lola finally going to a counselor,
Hmm.
and you had her make the important distinction between a counselor and a therapist.
Hmm.
And why did you choose to show her, one, working constructively through her issues,
Hmm.
and two, stating the difference between a counselor and a therapist?
So, well, because I have my degree in psychology, like, I've always been really, really interested in that part
Mm-hmm.
of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to show that she needed actual help. It is no question that I gear this book more toward Christians,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of things in the Christian realm are like, you don't need counseling, and over the past like few years, that has definitely changed, and mental health is,
Mm.
is a big conversation in the church.
Yes.
But it's still people out there who feel like, I don't need to go to counseling. And it's not even just Christians, it's Black people, period, that feel
Yeah.
like, I don't need help. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
can figure this out on my own. Like, I'm not crazy. What do I need to go
Mm-hmm.
to a shrink for? Like, I don't need
Mm-hmm.
help. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I wanted to show that it's not somebody that's calling you crazy. It's not somebody trying to make you feel like, something's wrong with you. They're trying to help
Mm-hmm.
you cope with your experiences, because it
Right.
happened. Things happen,
Mhm.
and you can't stop
Mhm.
them from happening, or you can't take
Right.
them back. But you have to learn how to cope with the things to come after those things occur.
Mhm.
So I wanted to show
Mhm.
that that's important, and I
Mhm.
also want to make the distinction between counseling and therapy,
Mhm.
because I feel like Lola definitely needed counseling because it was things that she really couldn't control, and it
Mhm.
was things that happened from years and years ago, where it's like at
Mhm.
this point you just need to learn how to cope with the
Mhm.
things that happen to you, rather than,
Mhm.
I feel like therapy is more of a it's more of like a relaxation type of thing. Like it kind of
Mhm.
eases your mind, and make you feel better about
Mhm.
life. But I
Mhm.
don't personally, I don't feel like therapy, and I know they're like interconnected, but
Right.
like
Right.
I feel like counseling is more like, let's talk about the things that you went through, and let's figure out a way to cope with those and to handle those when the traumas and the triggers come back up,
Mhm. Right.
So
Right.
I just wanted to make that kind of like distinction there.
Mhm.
But either
Mhm.
way, both are good. Both are
Right.
good for people
And I
who are.
think there's kind of a muddy line between them too.
Yeah.
They kind
Mhm.
of intersect at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the men in this book, they stuck around even when the women that they loved made some pretty big mistakes
Yeah.
that some might say were unfixable and
Mhm.
just, not redeemable.
Right.
So, why did you choose to portray the men in this way, especially William and Kendrick, but more so William, because he was really in this relationship with Lola. He had proposed to her. She turned him down. And most men would be like, okay, I'm going to cry my tears and walk away and find somebody else. But
Right.
he sticks around. So
Yeah.
why did you have these men stick around and not
Um,
just say, I'm done?
yeah. So I wanted to show men in a different light, where they're not just using you for whatever they can get you for. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
show in each of them, I wanted to show that, they actually have feelings,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like too often, especially like single women might feel like men don't really have feelings, and they just
Mm-hmm.
are using you. And it's like, not all men are like that, but
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to give them a chance, as Lola had to do with William,
Right.
and it's like a lot of things that she even tried to turn on him, like, oh, you just want me for this. And it's like, no, that's not, that was
Right.
you.
Right.
You were
Right.
like deflecting onto William, where
Mm-hmm.
you were struggling with. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I wanted to show that it's not always the guys. It's not always, they're, now Genesis is a whole different situation, but it's a whole different
Yeah.
situation. But for Kendrick and William, it's not always the guys who are the problem. Sometimes it might be
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to see that. And so I wanted to just definitely show William in that way, that no matter what you do, like, I'm gonna still like you, I'm gonna still love you, and I'm gonna love you
Mm-hmm.
through this. And like that was the
Mm-hmm.
thing that like really struck me about him, was that he proposed to her and everything, and he really tried to get her to like him, and
Mm-hmm.
he knew. And that was the thing, his confidence was also the thing that I feel drew Lola to him, because
Yeah.
it's like, you're really confident, like you're almost too confident for your own
Right.
good. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what also made her feel like, okay, like you're not really just here to use me, even though she tried to make it seem like that. So
Right.
yeah, and also with the men, and I kind of put this in most of my books, is the idea that all men aren't bad. Like, you
Right.
have your bad ones, you have the ones who cheat, you have the ones who do all these terrible things to women, but then you have the ones
Mm-hmm.
who are really good and really loyal.
Right.
So, I just wanted to like put that message in there, and then in the other books that I am writing, and in
Mm-hmm.
Closure, it's like men aren't all bad. Like, you just have to find
Right.
the right one.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the book centers quite a bit about around, religion and faith
Hmm.
and the flaws of people who are Christians.
Yeah.
But And even some of the flaws of people who are religious, because I think people who are religious are completely different from people who are Christians. I think they're two
Yeah.
different things. That's
Yeah.
my thing.
Mhm.
But the characters, some of them, they always circle back to their faith.
Mhm.
Why did you choose to have them do that?
So I wanted to show that being a Christian myself, that you really can't do anything without God. You, you can't do anything without
Mm-hmm.
God helping you, or having his hand on you. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make it known that, like, even when you do mess up, even the things that you, like Ezra, like, you want it to be wild, you want it to go and do live your life the way you want to live it, but God's always there. So you can always go to God. And it's
Mm-hmm.
never too
Mm-hmm.
late to circle back around. That's why they have the backsliders and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's never too late to go back to God, and he's always going to have his arms open. So I wanted to, like, show that even if you make mistakes or you make really bad decisions. I don't like the word mistakes. I tell my husband this all the time. Like, I don't like the word mistakes, because a mistake is like, you really have no consciousness of making a mistake. It's really about, like, your bad decisions. You did something that you knew wasn't right, but you did it anyway because you thought that it might turn out differently.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not
Mm-hmm.
a mistake, that's a bad decision.
Right.
So
There is a
I
difference. People do make
yeah.
mistakes too.
Yeah. Yeah, people make
But
mistakes,
yeah, but
but
like you said, a lot of the things that people do are bad decisions. Yeah.
yeah, and I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make that known, that, like, even the bad decisions that you do make is not going to stop you from being loved by God. Like, God
Mm-hmm.
is always going to have his arms open for you to come back around and to change things up. If you don't want to live that life anymore, come on back to your faith, and let's clean your
Mm-hmm.
life up, pretty much.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Now, the book ends on a real cliffhanger
Mhm.
with a secret that's revealed
Mhm.
that two of the characters have no idea about.
Yeah.
So, you said there's a second book?
Yes. So, okay. So, so the thing with Heather Can Wait too, right? I'm writing it. I've been writing it since I stopped. Since I stopped writing Heather Can Wait 1, I kind of just went right into writing Heather Can Wait 2,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm at like 72,000 words on that manuscript, so I'm almost done. But
Okay.
I just stopped. Like, I just stopped. If something is just not right with it, and I have to go, like, I'm like, I have to go back and retrace my steps, and like, just make sure everything is the way that it's supposed to be, because as
Okay.
I mentioned pretty often, is that I like to have my books have a purpose and a message in it, and like a
Mm-hmm.
to have a message. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like this second one is pushing that message through. Is kind
Okay.
of just like for entertainment, and I don't want
Okay.
just entertaining books. I want the books to have some sort of uh purpose to it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I was feeling with the second one was going. So I just have to go back and fix a few things. It's probably not even a whole bunch, but I just have to fix a few things in their storylines, because
Mm-hmm.
I would tell you the whole book is written. The whole second book is written, but I
Okay.
just have to insert like pretty much the narrative part of it all.
Okay.
Um, I have the everything is mapped out the way that I expected it to go,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think I think it might be me too, because I don't feel like it's ending. I don't feel like that story is ending on the way that I want it to end. Like, I feel like it's ended in a
Okay.
way that's like really upsetting me, and I'm like, I don't want it to end. So I might just have to just release it and just like say, okay, look,
Just
this is.
let it be.
I, I might have to
Send it
do
to
that
your
because
editor. Let your editor deal with it and see what they say, and let it
yeah,
go. Because, I mean, I need to know, because it's too much open-ended stuff. Like, is Azra going to get away with what she did?
hmm
She and her mom, like, they talked, like, she called her,
yeah,
and I'm not saying who her mom is, but they talk.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there's all that other stuff that's going on. I
Yeah. Oh man, I want to say so much, but because it's like it's a whole like I said, the whole second book is done, but
right.
it's it's
Come on, sis.
I feel like it
Let it go.
changes
Bring it
the.
out.
I'm gonna have
We need
to.
the book.
I feel like it changes. It's going to definitely change people's minds about the
Okay.
character, and I think that's the thing too. This was my first book, and I feel like I got so attached to them. Like I feel like they're my friends, and it's like I
They ain't
hate
your
to put y'all
friends.
out like this.
You look. You gotta do what you gotta do. Put them out because I need to read the book so I can figure out what happens because
I
there's too much that's
know.
left open. We need to.
Uh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it next year, 2023. I'm probably gonna have about 3 books that's gonna be released. So
Okay.
three to 4 books. So
Okay.
that's my goal because I literally have 3 to 4 manuscripts or works in progress.
Okay.
So and they're all either halfway written or almost complete. So
Okay.
Heaven Kuwait is definitely coming out next year, but it's
Okay.
just I'm gonna have to give a disclaimer. It's like, y'all,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
come on. Just let it out. It's not yours anymore. You wrote it, send it to the editor, let them do what they need to do, and then just put it out. We need to
Yeah.
know what happens. There's too much open stuff. I need it to
Yes.
come on out.
Yes.
So now, what do you love most about being an indie author?
The freedom to release things on your own time. That's like the biggest thing probably for me is being able to take my time and not to rush anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really don't like now when I said like I have 3 to 4 books coming out next year,
Mm-hmm.
it's not because I'm just rushing them out. It's because I'm almost done and I've been working on each one for the past year or two. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even when I was
Mm-hmm.
writing Heaven Can Wait, I was writing these books as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's really, these 3 aren't rushed, but they're
Mm-hmm.
just, I like to take my time and I like to
Yeah.
give like quality stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that part about, being an independent writer because like you don't have to worry about people saying, "Oh, we need this. This is the deadline. You need to have this done by this
Right.
date."
Right.
And being able to have that control over when I release and whether I want to release or I don't feel
Right.
that pressure. And I do feel a lot of pressure being an indie author with Heaven Can Wait. I feel a lot of pressure because I know everybody's like, "Oh, we want this book," and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Okay." Okay, it's coming, but like, and yeah, I would say like that's probably the biggest thing is being able to do things on my own time, and I
Mm-hmm.
also like to have my books really express who I am without it being changed by another, like the publishing company or like saying, well, we
Mm-hmm.
just dial this back a little bit, like, oh,
Right.
that's too unrealistic,
Right.
or for my book Closure.
Mm-hmm.
That one didn't end on the happiest note,
Mm-hmm.
but I like to have those stories too. I like to have stories that aren't all, oh, and everything just was rainbows and sunshine. Like sometimes things are
right.
just rainy days and a
right.
hurricane is coming. Like,
Right. Right.
you
Just
know,
storm after storm after storm. Yeah.
yeah. So I like that aspect of writing and doing it the way that I want to do it. And
okay.
yeah, so I think those are like the 2 main things.
All right.
Yeah.
So now you already answered my question about you have several books in the works. So
Yes.
looking forward to that. Now,
Yes.
where can we find you on the internet and social media?
So I have to actually get my website back up and running. I'm going to
Okay.
get somebody to do it for me because I don't want to. So I'm going to need somebody to do that. But you can find me on Instagram under BD underscore Hendrix or B.D. underscore Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. Like I'm on Instagram. I have to like expand my
Okay.
pretty much expand my social media presence. But that
Okay.
is like the only place that like I post things. I had things
Okay.
on Facebook as well,
Okay.
but I'm not like actively on Facebook. I'm more on
Okay.
Instagram. Like I'll just kind of post on Instagram.
Okay.
And I had a TikTok. I can't even tell you what that TikTok is. I did, like I said, I have to get my I have to get my social media presence up, and like it's gonna happen. My husband, he's a lawyer, so
Okay.
now he's gonna like kind of start trying to take control of my author appearance.
Mm-hmm.
What was it called? My author
Your
career, I guess.
brand. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
brand. So like he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna definitely like help me with that, because
Okay.
I'm just like I just want to be the talent. I don't want to have to like do anything. And like even with everything that I've done, I create my own covers, and
Mm-hmm.
I write the stories, I edit, and then I send it to like a specific editor that I use.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like I do not want to promote. I don't I don't want to do anything like that. So I'm
Right.
just like, you can have it and just like,
Mm-hmm.
do it
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. There you go. Let somebody else. You just do the creative part. Let somebody else handle all that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it in the coming probably year, in the coming year, is my social media presence gonna be way more expanded than it is now, and
Okay.
I'll definitely let you know
Okay.
where you can find me.
All right, but for right now, it's b.d._Hendrix on Instagram. So everybody go follow her there.
It might just be BD Hendrix and the
Let
BD
me let me
underscore
let me
Hendrix.
let me let me see. Let me just pull you up on Instagram real quick. See, this is the beauty of
Yes,
keeping
it
my
might just
phone
be
near
D.
me.
D.
Let's see.
Right.
Yep, it is BD_
Okay.
dot Hendrix.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yes. So there you go, y'all.
Yes.
BD_ Hendrix on Instagram with other stuff coming in 2023.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing your time and your talents being here with me today. I'm so glad we finally got to do the show. Glad to have you here.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed myself.
Well, good. I'm glad. I enjoyed your book very much. Very well done.
Thank you.
And Booze and Bros, you know how I do. Today's quote comes from the late Bell Hooks, and she said, "True love does have the power to redeem, but only if we are ready for redemption. Love saves us only if we want to be saved."
Yes.
Until next time, y'all, you know what to do. Grab a book and read, and I'm out.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for lending me your ear today. If you enjoyed this content, please head over to betweenthereads.com and leave a rating for the show. While you're there, consider supporting this independent podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/betweenthereads. Join us next week for another great episode.